And so we want to be considering what other areas in your body are not moving. Where is there restriction? Where is there issues occurring? Hello and welcome back. Now, just before we get started, as always, if you're watching this on the Total Somatics YouTube channel, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and press the notification bell. So whenever I drop an episode out, you find out very quickly. Now, what I want to do today is before we start this episode, I'd like to just send a little request out to you if that's possible. And that is that I have something that I'd like to present to you as a free online event in the near future. But in order for me to do this, what I'm going to ask from you is, could you start sending me any questions or queries or challenges that you have that I can help support and serve you that's going to be applicable to total somatic movement and clinical somatic movement, mindset and mindfulness. So it could be to do with how to deal with a one-sided issue like a shoulder or a hip issue. Whatever your challenges are, please let me know. So if you go to the email support@totalsomatics.com and just in the subject heading put question for Heidi, and then I'll get that. If you want to leave your questions with me, what I want to do is formulate all of your queries and your questions, and I'm going to create a free online event for you just to come in, but it's going to be very much focused to what you need. So again, this is very much dependent on you. So let me know. And then once I've got lots of info together, I will announce a date and you and I can get together and we can really delve deep into some of your pain points and problem issues. Okay, so again, email support@totalsomatics.com and put questions for Heidi in that subject heading. So today, I'd like us to consider an issue that can be very common with many, many people, and that is neck and jaw and shoulder issues, and how we can approach this with a total somatic view and perspective. Now, many times people will say to me they've been doing pandiculations, and they'll look all over the internet and find pandiculations. And what they'll often be doing is overworking areas such as their neck and shoulders to address some of those issues. What I'd like to consider today is that we want to stand back and we want to look globally at how your brain is patterning tension. If you're familiar with my episodes, you'll know that your brain creates a full body pattern of contraction and basically restriction in your body from habits and through stress and through adaptation. So what we want to be doing is using pandiculation and total somatic movement to release these patterns of tension. So sometimes what can happen is we can focus very much on an area or the site of pain. So it could be your neck or your shoulders. And it could be because in traditional hands-on professional techniques, you might find that you've had an area dry needled, like the shoulder. You might have had it massaged. You might have had it manipulated, which is great. And it takes a lot of that discomfort away. However, it hasn't addressed how that issue has occurred. And so we want to be considering what other areas in your body are not moving. Where is there restriction? Where is there issues occurring? This is what we want to really peel back and start to understand. Because, for instance, with a lot of neck and shoulder issues, it will show up that we haven't released rigidity within our rib cage. If we've got a lot of dysregulated breathing, if it's just not breathing too well and we're very shallow with our breathing, that will also impact the mobility or the movement of our rib cage. So our rib cage will hunker down and we can get rigidity through the front, back and the sides of your rib cage. So it affects how deep we can breathe, how we twist, how we rotate. And consider your neck muscles are attaching to the top of your rib cage. So if we have very little mobility or movement in your ribs, you can see why it starts to pull on your neck. And so you could just do isolated movements and you may have been told to stretch your neck muscle, but that's actually going to cause a lot of problems and a lot of discomfort for you because we haven't addressed a huge area that's impacting the movement or the restriction in your neck muscles, and that's your rib cage. And so this is where I'm just going to invite you that, for instance, if you want to really focus on releasing rigidity in your rib cage, which is going to help neck and shoulder issues, it's going to help depth of breathing, it's going to help twisting and rotation and general mobility, there is a standalone course that you can have a look at within the Total Somatics website. If you go to totalsomatics.com, click on the shop page, you'll see there's a release rib rigidity workshop there. So you can actually go straight to that digital course, download it, you've got it permanently for life, and you can start to actually work more intelligently and with this global approach by releasing the tension from your rib cage, and then that will have a ripple effect and release muscles elsewhere. But also, what I just want to share with you is that possibly the neck and rigidity that's happening in your neck is not just the rib cage, but it could be coming from the position of your pelvis. It's a very strong chance that's happening. And that's because, again, muscles around your belly, through your waist, through your lower back are connecting the movement from your rib cage to your pelvis. So everything is hunkered down, it's very tight. We lose the rotation and the twist with our movement. We literally walk very wooden. So in that instance, it's about addressing and releasing the tension that's created through your pelvis. And if that's the case, I just want to share with you again, there's another resource that you can go to. Go to totalsomatics.com, click on the shop page, and you'll see there's a digital course that says release tight hips and back with clinical somatic movement. Now that particular course is really good because it's releasing your pelvis as well as your rib cage, although the rib rigidity is doing everything too. But that release tight hips and back with clinical somatic movement is incredibly popular. It's the #1 digital course within the Total Somatics shop. And at the moment, it's been now sold, I think it's now in 44 or 45 countries that has purchased that digital course. It's incredibly popular. So it's a really good investment to help with you releasing a lot of tension and tightness. So again, in summary, what we wanted to do is step back, consider our entire system from a global perspective, and consider how we can release the tension through our neck and our shoulders by actually starting from your center, starting from your pelvis, releasing the tension around your belly, your back, your waist, getting the rotation back in your pelvis, getting that twisting and rotation and the swinging action of your rib cage to return. When we bring in those springs and that shock absorbency back into your entire torso, that's going to really support and take a lot of pressure off your neck, your shoulders. And then, of course, bringing in your pandiculations to free up that tension through your neck, you'll see why it's a total somatic approach to your health and well-being. We're considering how your brain is patterning tension. And remember, with your pandiculation and your total somatic movement, we are going straight to your sensory motor cortex, the part of your brain that senses and feels and creates movement. We're doing a sensory motor reset or a software reset. That's what you get when you do pandiculation. So we're reintroducing efficient muscle movement and muscle memory back into your body. We're teaching your body that when you move, one side should contract, the other side should lengthen and release. That's how we should be moving efficiently. And that's how we can help with shock absorbency and create that elasticity and mobility with our everyday activities. So that's why I wanted to share that with you today, because that's a question that does come up quite often. And that is that people do all these neck stretches, they do all sorts of things, but they're still in a lot of pain, and it often will trigger a headache. And I'll tell you why it'll also trigger a headache is because when you're stretching a muscle, you'll often take it to the range that you want to take it. So it's sometimes our ego driving it, rather than being mindful and noticing where the end of that natural range of movement is before it turns into a stretch. Because you see, when we trigger a stretch reflex, and that's when we take it beyond the end of that movement pattern into a stretch, the stretch reflex is an incredibly clever mechanism. What it will do is contract and tighten your muscle to protect it from damaging and over tearing and overstretching. However, when it contracts, it often makes that muscle a little bit tighter than it was before we started that movement. So can you see that we want to move away from the stretching? We want to work globally by looking at how your brain is actually hunkering down and creating tension from your center, from the pelvis, all the way out, and shifting to more of that lengthening to the end of your natural movement with a pandiculation rather than stretching. But as you will see, if you go to totalsomatics.com, click on the shop page, you'll see there's either the release rib rigidity or there's also release tight hips and back with clinical somatic movement. Those two options, two of them together, wonderful. If you just choose one of them, again, you will get the full global approach of releasing that tension from your center outward. And it's been a life-changing experience for many people. So if you decide to go into the online shop and purchase that, please let me know how you get on, because I love to hear how your beautiful Soma is responding to those wonderful movements. So as always, it's been wonderful to spend this time with you. Keep your questions coming for our very special event that I will hold once I've gathered all your information together. But in the meantime, if you want to join the wait list for the Total Somatics membership, where you get even more classes and you get so much more support from me, go to totalsomatics.com, click on the Join Now page, and if the membership doors are currently closed, leave your details there on the wait list. And if they're there, the next time we open the doors to the membership you will be the very first to find out. So until next time, all my love and my very best wishes. Take care. Bye.
Thank you for joining me today. If you've enjoyed this episode, please leave a rating and also forward this on to somebody you know will benefit. To learn more about pain relief, plus how to improve your health and well-being, go to totalsomatics.com. Until next time, take care.